Hi folks, welcome to my fourth video, maybe a lesson on some art history. I used to teach the different modes of creativity, and we can start with realism. Realism is a mode that many people enjoy working in. There's several different kinds of realism. There's high realism, photorealism, and it's a difficult venue to work in because you got to have expert drawing skills. So we play with subject matter, which is very important, lighting, and maybe if you want to make a statement, that's fun too. Many artists back in the 70s were doing birds and animals and that sort of thing. Robert Bateman was doing some high realism with animals and birds, and it was a very popular mode. Glenn Lodes was another one. I didn't like following that trend. I like painting dead birds, which kind of went the other way, just because I found that more intriguing. Another venue is abstract, and there's some very famous abstract painters, and it was pretty much established around the 1880s with Vincent van Gogh and Gauguin and the French Impressionists, where you have the impression of realism and flattened areas with major areas of painted surfaces and outlining, which is called cloisonnism or cloisonné. Gauguin would outline and Van Gogh would outline his figures to flatten them out. So we lost that idea of photorealism with these gentlemen, and they pushed the envelope, and it became so popular and so powerful. It's still very popular today. I think Van Gogh kind of entered another realm, abstract expressionism, and Picasso is an abstractionist as well. A lot of people enjoyed his work and followed his mode of painting and thinking. Following abstract and abstract expressionism, we have a much misunderstood venue is non-objective art. And non-objective art is simply what it means. It's abstract painting with no objects in it. So you're playing with color, you're playing with motion, you're playing with color field paintings, and you typically don't recognize objects from the real world. And a couple of famous artists working in that mode would be Mark Rothko painting, or Piet Mondrian, who's one of my favorite non-objective artists, and even Jack Shadbolt from Canada. It's a very difficult mind sale. A lot of people don't understand it, so they tend to shy away from it, but it's funny how 20, 30 years later, it becomes such a popular mode of painting that it becomes an incredibly blue chip investment for a lot of corporations. The final one, which is probably the least understood mode of painting or creating art, not painting, is conceptual art. And I used to totally enjoy teaching this mode because you don't really end up with a final product. You don't buy something and then take it home. The idea of conceptual art as process is more important than final product. So I want to give you a name, and I could go on forever talking about this gentleman. Christo and his wife would go around the world wrapping things up in canvas and taking something very hard, something very large and monumental, and softening its texture. He's done the Parliament buildings in Berlin. He's stretched a orange canvas across the Grand Canyon. I mean, these are huge projects, and he would think about these, plan these projects for about a year. He would do drawings, he would do silk screens and prints, create one-of-a-kind little models, and he would have a show in New York, and he would sell these, and there would be a lineup of people around the block waiting to get in to be part of this next project. He was highly, highly successful, highly respected. I loved him to death because he was on the edge, and what he had to do to come up with the money and the finances to pay for these projects, he would sell even little pages out of his sketchbook that might even be a phone number or might even be an address or a tiny little sketch or an idea that he had. And he would get these framed and sign them, and he would have a sellout show. So, I mean, Christo falls into that category where a lot of artists, even in California, were using bulldozers and creating art out of the desert and piling up sand, piling up stones. The idea there was to create art using machinery. I think also too, the idea is to leave the environment behind untouched, like nobody's been there. You know, you don't want to be damaging Mother Earth. You're just using it, and then you get out of town and clean up after yourself. These artists have changed the world in the way we think. If you want to follow me and see my previous videos or the next video, you can click like and subscribe. I'll meet you there, and hopefully these videos will be helpful. And they are designed for beginners and maybe some, intermediate artists that have no notion of the art world and what it's all about. But it is a fascinating topic and certainly something I've enjoyed all my life. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.